get your life back to normal. Lonnie with Restored Restoration.
Welcome to the podcast, guys.
Yeah. I just got back to the shop, and I was like, oh, crap. I saw that you had texted this morning, but I didn't, read it because I was just running and, a million things going on. And then I happened to look, and I was like, oh, it's 2:38. And then I actually, as you know, I got read receipts on my text. So, crap. Time flies, and when you work 7 days a week, it's hard to remember sometimes that it's, Friday.
Yeah. For some reason, I thought it was Wednesday. Like some days I understand, okay, what day it is, and then I'll just kind of gravitate and do stuff and then feel like, oh, it's a different day of the week. It's weird how that happens. But it's good.
I do it every day.
You're busy. That's good.
Yeah. Unless my phone dings and tells me I got an appointment at, tomorrow. I always set all my appointments. Well, if it's way out in the future, I set it for 1 week ahead, and then I always set it 2 hours ahead. So,
I like that.
Yeah. And then if it's, when it pops up, I don't schedule a lot of stuff 2 months out, but occasionally I'll get something. I'll schedule it, 4 weeks or some distance out. And, so I always set a 1 week reminder. Otherwise, if it's not on my calendar, I can't keep everything in my head. So every week I always, one day I'll be like, man, it's Wednesday, and I'm, bopping along, and people are like, have a good weekend. And I'm like, it's Wednesday. What are you talking about? I'm like, no, dude, it's Friday. I'm like, oh. I'm like, well, I just know that tomorrow I got to go do this, and, Sunday I got to do that. And anyway, but I do kind of do something 7 days a week.
Yeah, I like setting those notifications 2 hours ahead of time, and then another for 15 minutes. Oh, shut up, Alexa. And then the Alexa device was talking to me.
I heard something. Sounded like, I thought maybe your wife. I couldn't distinguish the voice, but it sounded feminine.
It scared the crap out of me, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, I texted you this morning when I was on the throne.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, just trying to have my coffee.
So if I look back at the time date stamp, I can look back to see what time you were pooping.
Yeah, you could. And, the world needs to know what time in the morning I took a dump.
Yeah. Well, I remember thinking it was early for you, but you're 2 hours behind me, so I don't know what I was doing at that exact moment.
Yeah, I was going to ping you about business stuff because I had kicked off another email your way. Wasn't sure if you saw it, and
I did. I just saw it a little bit ago, so I need to kind of do that.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, if it gives you problems, please let me know, because I know in the past we've had problems.
Yeah,
I get these
I don't
spam
know
calls.
What that was.
Huh.
Are you getting one now?
I declined it. A spam call. So
I'll tell you what, for, 4 years, I've had the Hiya app, Hiya, Hiya.
Yeah.
And that cut down quite a bit of spam and robocalls and crap like that. Really? And then it also has a cool feature where you can give me a phone number and I can, punch it in, and it'll tell me, a lot of times it'll tell me the name, who it's registered to, whether it's a person or a business, or it'll come in and it'll tell me the name, but then it'll tell me reported as spam or suspected spam or something like that. And then I got turned on to another app. So I have two apps. When you have phone numbers listed out there on Google and stuff, you just get random, weird, just stupidness that calls all day long. And then 9 out of 10 times I hear attention business owners, and then I just hang up. Or I hear, please don't hang up, some automated robocall that says, please don't hang up. Or I hear your Google listing, I'm like, click. but I found a new one called Nomo Robo, NOMOROBO. And since I have those two apps running, my spam calls are like next to nothing now. And the Nomo Robo, actually, anything that's listed as spam just automatically kicks it straight to my voicemail.
Nice.
So, and since I am a business owner and people do move in from other areas, you know, I do tend to screen if I get Connecticut phone number showing up. I'm like, I don't know anybody in Connecticut. And they're used to, you know, when they're living in a 573 area code and they're from a whatever area code, they're, you know, they're used to kind of being screened. So, yeah, I just kind of screen those and let them go to voicemail. I would love nothing more in life than to be in a position where I could just literally turn my phone on to where it doesn't ring unless you're a contact.
Wow, that's how much you get. Are you having to pay for any of these? Are you having to pay for any of these apps?
Yeah. I don't know if Hiya has a free app or not, or a free version. I pay like $14 a year for Hiya, and I think like $14 a year for Nomo Robo. But having those two both running, I mean, there are some that do slip through, but it's gone from, I don't know, 25 to 40 robocalls and, you know, spam calls a day to two or three, which is, that's worth $30 a year for me. You know, it's like, gee, because those little people are just sneaky. They'll get like a local cell phone prefix. You know, for me, it's 452-230. I can't remember the other ones, but anyway. And I'm like, oh, this is somebody selling. I'll be talking to you or somebody, and it's like, oh, hold please, and it's like, oh crap, and it's like, your Google listing, blah blah blah. You know, it's like crap. Anyway,
good to know.
So,
good to know.
Yeah, when your phone number's out there on Google and Yelp and Bing and I don't know whatever else that's out there, you just get you get a lot of random stuff. And it just drives me insane thinking I got a work call, and then it turns out to be, you know, it's always a deep baritone male voice that says, "Attention business owners." Like, crap. Okay, dude, I've heard that one 100 times.
Yeah, and if you're under like somebody's home and you've got your whole suit on and you think, oh my God, this is an important call I got to take.
Right.
You got to stop everything and kind of peel off things just so that you can answer a spam call.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's worth it to me. I pay whatever. I mean, like I think they're both around $15 a year. And it's just done and over and done with, and it's literally taken me from 20 to 40 a day to 2 or 3, and that's still annoying. But what do you do in this day and age?
Yeah.
But my friends and family that I know, that like the only people that ever call their cell phone are their contacts, and people worry, well, what if my doctor needs to call me? Well, like, first of all, how often does your doctor call you? Just out of the blue. You know what I'm saying? But most people, program their dentist, their primary care, their insurance agent. You know what I'm saying? And then, if you're lucky enough to have the ability to, I'm talking from an iPhone, there is a setting that you can click with. Basically, the only people that can call you are your contacts. And, man, I'm envious of people that are in that position that, and then if you do turn that on and you don't, it'll, and you're not a contact of that person, it'll just go straight to their voicemail.
When you're hiring someone to clean your carpets, you're probably assuming that they're using better equipment and better cleaning solutions than you would. Unfortunately, this is not always the case. Their equipment should heat the water to 200 degrees to ensure that your carpets are not only clean, but disinfected. Next time you hire someone to clean your carpet or tile, ask them how hot their water gets. If they don't know or it's less than 200 degrees, send them back and call me, Lonnie Beecham, with Restore It Restoration. I'll get your carpets done right and your life back to normal.
So you're not going to miss anything important.
Yeah.
Now, I do get it. The odd time if you got teenage drivers and they're calling from a friend's phone that's not programmed, you do want those phone calls, but it'll go straight to your voicemail. And most everybody, looks at it when the phone dings. They're like, who's that? Oh, they left a voicemail. Oh, I better listen. It's my daughter's broke down and she's with her friend and her phone is dead or whatever. I wish I could turn those on. Then literally you wouldn't be able to call me unless I already knew you and programmed you in.
There you go.
So, you okay to do, switch gears, or you want to talk about Guam and everything else?
I'm good.
I'll be honest. I do kind of forget that you are from Guam. Mm-hmm. Aren't your parents Filipino?
Yeah.
You were raised on the island of Guam.
Yeah. I think my parents met. They both moved to Guam with their families separately back in the day, and then I think they met on Guam, and then started a family. Yeah. Yeah,
I honestly just think of you as Ruel as my friend. I forget, your backstory that you grew up on a, tropical island with typhoons and stuff like that, and then moved, college, wasn't it, that moved you to America?
Yeah, it was, I wanted to follow my girlfriend, my wife now, follow and sort of just not break up the relationship. So the movement, I had to do something with my life. So I figured I've postponed going to college, long enough. So figured I'd just hop right into it. I was ready for it after my wife had wrapped up her undergrad. By that time I was like really ready to get back into school, but I wasn't ready right after high school. That's for sure.
Gotcha. So she's the first one that was looking to move to the mainland America. Yeah. She wanted to move to California where her older sister lived, and she wanted to, get into a master's program here. And, we, that's how we got here. Actually, I planned to, fly along with her, but I had originally planned to live with my cousin at the other end of the bay, who had his own company, and I was hired on to work for him. So, it would just be sort of, I'd be living and doing my own thing in the Bay Area, and she'd be living doing her own thing in the Bay Area, and somehow we'd figure out how to, keep our relationship going. But when we arrived, my wife had other plans. She's like, okay, we're going to go stay in this room in the house. I'm like, I never asked permission from your older sister and her husband if I could live with you guys. She just made it happen. And it was weird. I never. She wanted the Abadam.
Yeah, she wanted me to be there with her, and I'm like, oh, okay. There we go. And then so I worked for my cousin and worked and went to school.
It's a cousin with a photo print business?
No, I was a cousin with a background check business.
Oh, yeah. I remember background stories. Yep.
Yeah. It was fun, And I when I left my cousin's company, they were kind of boned. They were trying to keep me on, and I wonder if I had made a different decision back then, how things would be. But they were willing to keep me on, and maybe even have me be sort of like a partner,
Yeah.
But I had other ideas. I wanted to take I wanted to use my degree because that's sort of how you kind of grow up. Use your degree. Kind of funny. But
yep, I don't use my degree.
That's right. Was it restaurant?
Yep, restaurant
related?
Management. I mean, I did learn about microbes and sanitation levels, and so that's the only thing I use. But I don't worry about salmonella so much. I worry more about E. coli and more gut microbes than salmonella. If I undercook a pork chop, I don't deal with that.
Yeah.
But E. coli is in sewage, and all kinds of bloodborne pathogens are in sewage. So that's the only thing I remotely use. But the temperature scales of where to keep your refrigerators and your hot served food and stuff like that, I don't deal with that anymore at all. I understand it. I still remember all that stuff. I was one of the few in my class that actually scored a 99% on that ServSafe certification course. So some areas require that to even be a server. But I graduated college with all the bartending and alcohol certifications, and not knowing that, knew all about the dram shop laws of, over serving people and what happens if I serve a patron to the point that they're intoxicated at a bar, and what kind of legal liabilities are on me, and then, all the certifications for handling food and that sort of thing. And I was sitting there thinking, well, people that show up and sit at a bar, they're looking to get intoxicated. Well, that was my college view. In college, we'd pay $5 at the door, and it was all you could drink. And, they were serving natural light on the keg, and your cheapest of cheap rums or vodkas or whatever, and sodas. And, that's what I was thinking, like, well, people show up to drink and get hammered. And how are they not all getting in trouble? And then now, as an adult, I can walk in, sit down, be social, have a drink, and go home. Now it's different, but that's 45-year-old Lonnie versus, 20-year-old Lonnie.
20-year-old Lonnie who would shut a place down.
Oh, in college we had what they called bladder busters. So it was all you could drink for free until the first person peed. Yeah, and once the first person took a leak, then it was full price. Well, they knew that game. They weren't going to give a lot of free, they gave a lot of free drinks at first, and then you did not want to be the first one to go to the bathroom. I actually never did those things, to be honest with you. I mean, the guys would come back talking and can't believe Pork Chop was the first one, and we had to start paying. He was only there for 15 minutes. And it's like, well, probably should have, pre-partied before you went to the bar. But that was a different age, different time, different location, different maturity levels, all that.
Yeah. Bills, responsibility.
Yeah.
Other lives relying on you. Mm-hmm. Either family or employees.
Right. Yeah. All right, so let's switch gears. What you got for me?
Well, the last time we chatted, we had a couple of amazing stories from you that I'm not going to repeat because it just brings up memories that you don't want to recall. But if the listeners haven't checked it out, you should go a couple episodes back, because the most recent one was a rebroadcast of an older episode. But there was one about amazing stories.
Yeah, and I already forgot what they were. Oh, Gary and the funeral home.
Yeah, and and since then I've actually tried to retell the story about the funeral home to a couple people. I was just really excited to share.
That's pretty sad, Ruel.
No, it's amazing. It's like, yeah. Then you had to make a decision to wheel Grandma out away from under all that pouring water.
Right. You'd think that would have been pretty obvious.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask if you know anything about, because a lot of this side of the country is dealing with all the fires and things.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're getting certain stuff, fallout, whatever you want to call it. And do you know anything about if that stuff is damaging to the outside, like things on the outside, whether it's your furniture or your outside furniture or maybe even your lawn, will that stuff, or your vehicle? I mean, we're not talking carpet cleaning or anything like that, but I just wanted to know if you knew anything about it.
Well, we don't deal with wildfires in the Midwest. We deal with, hurricanes, tropical storms that blow up. As we talked about, the occasional earthquake and stuff like that. But, so I can't tell you exactly about wildfires, but what I can tell you, since I do have a lot of background in fire restoration, is all smoke and soot is acidic and corrosive by nature. So it is definitely doing damage to your lungs, breathing that air. It's also very damaging to your paint job on your car. And, most furnitures, outdoor furnitures are plastic or plastic coated, or, you do have the wood stuff. It is definitely doing something to the finish. It ain't doing much to, the plastic furniture or plastic coated furniture. But yes, if you have wrought iron or you have powder coated something, deck furniture or ornaments and stuff like that, it's definitely doing damage to it. So, but in a wildfire, that's where my knowledge gets limited. I don't know how much soot exposure that you're getting exposed to. I do know that you posted, or either you texted me or is in our admin group. I did see where your barbecue grill was just covered in soot, just falling out of the sky. And that is definitely, going to do some damage if you were to just leave it. So you definitely want to, brush off, clean up your fire grills and, your grills and pellet stoves and stuff like that. Don't just leave that soot on there. And unfortunately, it sounds like the whole left coast is just totally up in flames. And it's funny you should mention this. So the CDC puts out, would you say 2 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago was kind of the height of all the fires? I hear about the wildfires, and I know, and you see the photos, and it is amazing that the wildfires stop at the Canadian border. So is that just because we're American news sources, producing American news, or is British Columbia up in flames and we just don't know about it? I don't know, but the CDC put out that these T-shirt masks and improper masks that everybody's wearing for COVID does not protect you from wildfire smoke. So then that sent me down a rabbit hole, knowing what I know about fire smoke and the size of the COVID virus makes me just sit back and wonder about these masks all the way around. Not to get political or anything, but I know that the average human hair, if you were to pull one of your hairs out and measure it, it's about, on average, 75 microns. And we're talking tiny, okay? 75 microns for the human hair. The average smoke particle, now I'm talking more from fire damage smoke in a house, and we're talking, fire damage, when you have a fire in your house, they're averaging 1,800 to 2,500 degrees inside a house. So it's different, but at the same time, in that hot of an environment, the smoke particles themselves get down to 0.5 microns. Okay? And so in the fire damage restoration business, we would tear out the worst of the char and the gnarly, the burned out stuff. And then after that, we would have to utilize some what we call we would thermofog it, and then basically we'd run these big gas-powered flamethrowers. I mean, they were putting out flames, and that was pumping chemicals, fire neutralizing, soot neutralizing chemicals into the pores of the sheetrock, because smoke was getting, gets down to on average about 5 microns. We were getting down to 3 microns. So we're talking real tiny. So we were trying to penetrate this soot neutralizing stuff into your drywall that wasn't burned out, like on the far opposite side of the house, let's say. A lot of fires tend to happen in the kitchen, so obviously the kitchen gets totally gutted. But the back bedrooms typically are on the opposite side of the house as the kitchen, and they design that on purpose, and that's where a lot of the fires happen. If somebody is sleeping down the hall, they have a better chance of getting out of the house if they're away from the kitchen. So that sends me down a rabbit hole when the CDC puts out these T-shirt masks and men with beards, those big, thick Duck Dynasty beards and stuff, when they're wearing masks of any kind, you're not protecting your lungs from these wildfire smoke at all. And then it sent me down the rabbit hole of like how big is the wildfire smoke micron particles, and it's still about the same as the house. It's just spread out over human nature, or over Mother Earth, the wind. So it's not as concentrated as in a house. And I just found it very odd that the CDC is saying don't wear these T-shirt masks, don't wear these homemade masks to protect your lungs from the wildfire. So then that sends me down another rabbit hole, because I already knew that. So anytime you hear me talk about negative air or air scrubbing or HEPA filters and stuff like that, a HEPA filter filters everything in the air down to 0.03 microns. So we're talking microscopic, tiny things. And the virus COVID molecule is smaller than 0.03. It is 0.01 something. So we're talking very, very tiny. So it literally passes right through my expensive air filtration device with HEPA filters and everything. And so then It sends me down a rabbit hole thinking, okay, so the T-shirt mask that, stores want you to wear just to walk in isn't protecting you from the wildfires, and yet we're supposed to wear those to protect us from the COVID virus. So literally if you're wearing a T-shirt mask or a homemade mask, it'll capture the big droplets of mucus or sneeze or snot, whatever's coming out of your mouth, spit, saliva, but the virus molecule still passes right through that and keeps on going. So anyway, I don't know if I talked in circles. I don't know a lot about wildfires, but I know a little bit about smoke and fire damage. So I took you probably in a different direction than you were anticipating.
Well, I got to thinking about a couple of things. One was you were talking about the size of you were comparing the particles to a thing of hair, but what type of hair are you talking about?
What? Oh, well, I don't know.
Because some hair is thicker than others, you know what I mean? Okay.
Well, right.
I'm just kidding.
That's why I said the average human hair is 75 microns.
The average human armpit hair. Now, the other thing was, as I lost my train of thought. It's kind of like when you're saying, I mean, people are asked to wear these masks, but based on your I guess analysis, it's like it's not really going to help. But people are being asked to wear it when they walk into a store or whatever, and it basically ends up being for show. It's sort of like, have you ever like sat in the front of a vehicle and you only put the shoulder strap on and you hide the lap belt behind you?
Yeah, it's been a while, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like, it looks from the outside, it looks like you're wearing a seatbelt, but you're not really wearing anything that'll keep you in the car. It's right. It's like these masks. It's just for show. It's not going to help you, because if you get in a head-on collision only wearing your shoulder strap, you're going to run the risk of getting decapitated.
Right.
Getting ejected from the vehicle except for your head. Yeah, that's what came to mind. And it'll drive you nuts too, because I saw something the other day on an online print shop. You know, you can order like business cards and things of that nature, other printed items, and they're selling face masks, but they're made of paper, because you can print like your logo and things on these paper face masks. But I'm like, but what good is it? And they tell you in the fine print, like, it's not medical grade. I mean, duh, it's not gonna.
For giggles, next time you go into a store, Ruel, that provides masks for you. Yeah. Once somebody alerted me to this, I've paid lots of attention to this. 9 out of 10 of the boxes of the disposable masks that they are giving you, straight out of the box that they are handing you, it does say not medical grade, not used for medical situations. It just basically says we're virtue signaling. This isn't going to do squat for you. Right on the box.
But yeah, the guidelines aren't that precise. The guidelines are just have facial coverings, so I can go in there with like a Ronald Reagan mask, like in the movie,
right?
Patrick Swayze movie, and the Jimmy Carter mask.
Yeah.
Like, I got a facial covering on, and that should cover it, right? Not medical grade.
Yeah, I wish more people would actually CDC is our guideline people, right? Okay, I get it. Go to OSHA. OSHA is the one that actually regulates mask use for, workers. I mean, and it straight up says, like, the surgical masks you see on people, they are only good in surgical sterile environments. They are only good outside of a operating room. They're only good for about 10 to 20 minutes max. And then you got people wearing the same surgical mask every day to the office and going to the grocery store. And I see people hanging them from their rear view mirror and oh crap, I forgot my mask. And you see them going back and they grab it off the rear view and put it on. It's like, well, how many times have you worn that? Like you were saying about whenever I get a spam call and I'm in one of these situations where I'm suited up. I mean, there are some days I tell my wife, like, hun, don't call me today unless it's like life or death. And reason is, every time I get a phone call, see people, I don't know who the entity would be, but I wish they would teach people how to wear gloves, how to wear masks. It straight up says, with a beard, wearing a mask is right next to useless. And now that beards are common, I posted in the Facebook, in our admin group, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, a clean shaven face. Anytime you see me clean shaven, that's a day that I know I'm walking into a situation where it's asbestos and I need to get a tight seal on a mask. But yeah, these people that are reusing their gloves, wearing the improper masks for the situation, they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything. T-shirt masks, and don't get me wrong, I have hundreds of these little black T-shirt masks. And I just pop it on if I have to go in Menards. Menards is a Midwestern Home Depot big box, store like that. And they are militant about it. And you better have a mask on, even to walk in their parking lot. They got guys out there yelling, screaming, "Put your mask on! Put your mask on!" I'm like, dude, I just got out of my car. We're outside. Nobody's around me. I don't need to put my mask on right now. Put your mask on. They want you putting a mask on within 50 feet of the front door. So I put one of these little T-shirt masks on, and me knowing what I know, just being a jerk that I can be, I literally walk in wearing one of these T-shirt masks over my nose. My mouth is totally uncovered, and they walk. I can walk in. They don't say nothing to me. They don't even tell me, "Oh, you need to cover your mouth." Well, they don't tell me, "Oh, go out and shave real fast." I've never told you this, but I do keep shaving cream and a razor on hand because there are certain situations I walk into. I'm not expecting to get into something where I need to get a tight seal with my respirator. But, yeah, I'll go, get water and shave my face and I might be bloody. It's not convenient and it burns and it stings, but I don't have to do that very often, but somebody needs to educate our people, our public, about how to sanitize. People that spray anything, you've heard me rail about the Lysol wipes, and I see people wiping their whole house down with one Lysol wipe, doing the whole kitchen, and then they go to the bathrooms, and it's like you got one of those. If you're going to do that right, you really need about a jar of it. And every time I get one of these robocalls and it's spam, I have to take all my gloves off, take my mask off. I've got to doff and don my PPE correctly. So that means pulling my hood off. I got to unlatch my face respirators that has 4 things that just pull it up tight to your face. Then I got to pull that off. I got to pull my gloves off. And then, and you do that correctly. You don't just pull it off in a reusable fashion. You pull them inside out, take one hand and, grip the other one and you pull them inside out and they're inside each other, right? Just to get a phone call from my wife to say, oh, can you bring home milk? Or attention business owners. It's like, oh crap, no. That's why on some of those days I tell my wife, like, this is a heavy PPE day. Don't just call me to tell me anything. Don't even text me because I don't want to have to. Anytime when you're wearing gloves, you should go. Even to put your hand in your pocket, you need to take your glove off to put your hand in, pull your keys out, and then if you're going to put your gloves back on to touch your steering wheel, then you need to doff your PPE correctly and pull your both gloves off. And then you're putting both gloves on just to walk into the grocery store. If you're going to wear PPE correctly, not just talking masks, you're going to use a minimum of 12 changes of gloves. So every time you touch the cart, and then you go and touch, the cereal aisle or the bacon or the eggs or whatever, you should be switching them out. Otherwise, you're going to be cross-contaminating. People don't do that. They wear the same glove, wear the same mask that's been hanging on their rear view mirror. They pop it all on. They walk in the store. They touch all the carts. They touch all the stuff. That little hand wipe sanitizer, Lysol wipe thing that they're wiping down the carts with is absolutely useless. It's doing nothing to it whatsoever. Nothing stays wet long enough to sanitize a single thing. It's only wet for 10 seconds. And for anything that I've seen, even professional grade stuff, it needs to be wet for 4 minutes to be effective. To kill 99.9% of the germs, it needs to be wet for at least 4 minutes. At 30 seconds, some of the professional grade knocks it down quite a bit, so it is better. There are some stuff out there, not in a Lysol wipe or a Clorox wipe, I guarantee you, will it disinfect it, do anything. But anyway, I forgot what you asked me. But all my Lysol rants that you've heard for years, it's all real now because you just see people doing everything improper, and it's just like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
you're not doing it right. I text I don't know when it was, a week or 3 ago, texted something about a mask or something, and I was like, masks are stupid. I mean, or whatever I said to you. It sounded probably curse or short, but it's like, yeah. Surgical masks in a non-surgical environment's doing absolutely nothing. Then people are touching their masks all the time. And I'll tell you one thing that sucks. Oh, it sucks. Every time you put a respirator on, that's when your nose starts itching. And you just got to live with the itch because I'm not going to waste more gloves. And, you just, it just happens. So touching your mask with the same glove that you've touched the cart and you've touched the milk jug and you've touched the egg carton and you've, put your hand on the rail to lean into the cold freezer section and grab the door handles and all this stuff. It's silly.
Yeah. I've seen like an In-N-Out employee, right? He'd wheel out a bin of something that's supposed to go out to maybe to the garbage bin, the massive garbage bin outside. And he'll reach into his pocket and then he'll pull out gloves. Then he'll put gloves on. And I'm thinking Okay, so he's protecting himself, but aren't those? I mean, are those the same? I'm thinking, are those the same kind of gloves you would use to like handle food? What's going on there? And shouldn't those things come out of like a sanitary package, anyways, or a box of them, or not be sitting in your pocket that has like
not your console of your car, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you see these people wearing their food serving, like the cafeteria ladies in school, they always seem to wear these really thin, one size fits all, and they're always like, 5 sizes too big for them. I see people wearing those, and it's like, what are you doing? I mean, don't get me wrong, it's better than nothing, but people reusing the same gloves is so nasty. And then I also sit there and think, okay, knowing what I know, like my gloves, they're always turned inside out. You don't see like a proper sanitary disposal area in the parking lot of your grocery store to put your gloves. It's silly. It's silly. I shouldn't say that, but people are 99% of the people I see wearing any sort of PPE, they're doing it wrong.
Yeah, and you see people who they just don't care. They just want to have something on their face so that they're allowed to be somewhere. And meanwhile, they've got a mask that isn't pressed up against their skin. It's just kind of sagging and not even covering their nose. Like, what's the whole point?
So, what's funny? Last night, me and my wife and my youngest daughter, we went to Longhorn Steakhouse for dinner, right? So I'm watching the hostess stand. I was facing them and the store, the manager that was on duty. So they're all sit there in between people walking in. They're taking their bare hands, grabbing their mask, pulling it down below their mouth, and they're talking to each other. And then as soon as somebody comes in, they pop their mask up, adjust it over their nose, and then they go seat them, and then they go back and they go talk to their hostess friend over there, and she's over there drinking the drink, and mask just below her chin, not even wearing it right. Oh, and then here comes another family, and there's got to put it on, got to look good, got to wear it while we go sit down. It's like, what are you doing? You're not supposed to touch your mask. And trust me, I know it is really hard. Every time I put a mask on, whether it's one of my N95s or my full face respirator or a half face respirator, that's when your face just starts itching, and it is all you can do to keep from just scratching. But you got to fight through it.
How many times I've been wearing my mask in a grocery store, and like you talked about things getting itchy, and I just start sneezing in my mask, in the store. And then the other day I was chewing gum, and I had a mask on, and I was outside in public, and it was one of those things where I didn't choke on my gum, but I sort of kind of choked on a little bit of saliva that had accumulated in the back of my, I inhaled, went in the wrong hole. So I was wearing my mask, and I was just like coughing to try and recover. I swear I heard somebody somewhere out there saying, "Oh God, oh God."
Yeah, you can't sneeze and cough in public anymore without getting dirty looks. Yeah. And then you see on Facebook, everybody, just wear the damn mask. Wear the damn mask. What's the big deal? Wear the mask. Wear the mask. It was like, tell Duck Dynasty dude to put a mask on. And I see those guys. I have a beard, but I keep it trimmed out and stuff like that. But I see these guys with 8, 12-inch long beards that are just bushy, and it's like, I couldn't stand that. Whenever mine gets too long, that's when I trim it. I can't stand it tickling my upper lip. When you got these guys that have a full beard and you can't even see their lips, it's like, and then you see this tiny little mask sitting over that, and it's like an inch and a half off their face because they got so much hair. It's silly. And just wear a damn mask, and it just irritates me so bad. All you rude people in every town has their local Facebook page called whatever it's called, and they're like, I can't believe I went grocery shopping. I was the only one wearing a mask. It's like, well. All it's doing is making people feel good. It ain't accomplishing. As I say this as a non-public health entity, but just if you ever want a rabbit hole to go down, go look up OSHA's mask wearing guidelines. OSHA is the one that tells you how to wear the mask, when to wear it, which mask to wear in which environment. And then you see people, I know some offices are, making them wear an N95 and then wear some disposable mask over the N95, and then they're making them wear face shields. It's like, these people are complaining of headaches and everything else, and their oxygen levels are depriving. Another thing people don't realize, when you're wearing a surgical mask, when you're in a hospital environment, guess what? They actually pump more oxygen into the air because a little bit more, not a lot more, but a little bit more oxygen always helps everybody. And if you're in a hospital, what do they always do? They put that little fingertip thing on into your finger to see what your oxygen levels are. And if it's below anything around even 90%, they're pumping oxygen up your nose, but the whole environment's actually pumped up with more oxygen. And then they're wearing their mask in a clean environment. When you're in a surgical room, those OSHA actually regulates how much oxygen to pump in. I mean, and they're getting the air exchanges that I talk about in my line of work. They have extra filtration going on. They have positive pressure going on, and they're pumping up more oxygen when they're in the OR for 8 hours. They do that for several reasons. The doctor that's staying in there doing you always hear about these 8-hour emergency surgeries and stuff. More oxygen will keep you artificially energized. Obviously, you got to sleep at some point, but that's kind of a reason why they're pumping it up. And that's the environment to wear these surgical masks in, not your office, not to go grocery shopping, not to go to Lowe's and Home Depot. It's in a medical facility, in a sterile environment, not just willy-nilly wherever hanging from your rear view in between uses. And then people touch their keys, they touch the carts, they touch all the products that they're buying, and then they take their bare hands and grab that mask off and hang it on that rear view, and then they're going to put that back on to go back into their office tomorrow. It's silly.
God. Insane. When you really, really kind of follow the life of a mask that's being used.
There's a lot more to it than people realize. So, are you sorry you asked me about wildfires?
No, I'm not, and I'm actually happy that we talked about the robocalls because it all ties in, right? Your equipment, your robocalls, and just keeping things sanitary. It all ties in, the safety. So, I think we're good. I don't regret it.
Oh, good.
But
the more I ramble on, the more I'm sitting there thinking, he got way more out of this one little question than he wanted.
You probably didn't hear when I asked about the soot earlier, but it wasn't about lungs, but I was talking about the lawn, like the grass.
Oh, the lawn. Again, it's acidic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've got patches of grass that are just like not doing well. I'm like, what the heck happened? And I remember I was hosing down the back area, right, where we have
patio or
and then just to get all of that soot away from all of the surface, and it would just run over onto the grass and stuff. And I'm looking at that section of the grass, I'm thinking, man, it ain't doing good. Did I just create some sort of bad compound that just killing it off?
Yeah, knowing what you just told me, you need to get an alkaline to neutralize that. I think that's lime. You probably need some lime. I think lime is what you need. I know the chemistry. So anything since carpet cleaning or since soil is acidic, we have to. That's why most cleaning agents are alkalinic in nature. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but like if you know the pH scales, 7 is neutral, 8 to 13 or 14. I think 14 is what it goes up to. The higher than 7 is alkalinic. Anything less than 7 is acidic. So I mean, there are some situations where I actually break out a litmus test, litmus paper, and wet the surface to see how acidic it is to know, do I grab the 8 alkalinic scale or do I have to go up to 12 or 13? And lye, no, is it lye? I think lye might be the most, alkalinic, and that's bad because it can burn you. The higher, either way it goes, higher or lower, it can start burning you big time. So I don't know the exact acidic level of soot. I don't remember that. But a lot of times back in the fire restoration days, you'd have a fire and you'd call my company and we would come in. First thing we would do is board up your house or tarp it off to protect it from the elements and vandals and thieves and stuff like that. We would protect your property, and then we'd kind of go inside and see what we had to do. And if it smelled real funny, then we would if it looked like to us that it was going to be arson, we would have you sign our paperwork and would say at this point, insurance has only authorized us to board up and protect your property. Let's wait for your adjuster to contact you tomorrow. We'll be back out, and we would, go that route. Sometimes, it's a straight up fire. You see the deep fryer on the back porch around Thanksgiving, and it's, drunk brother-in-laws getting together, deep frying a frozen turkey, and the house goes up in flames. There's nothing arson about that necessarily. So we would, a lot of times, we always kept gallons upon gallons upon gallons of WD-40 on us. And so we'd come in, protect your property. We see that it's a straightforward common fire, grease fire on the stove, something, fireplace mishap, stuff like that. Before the insurance company would get there, we would go through and just wipe down all your ceramic tile, all your porcelain, and all your metal finish, like faucets and doorknobs and stuff like that. We would just go through and just smear WD-40 all over everything. That's called corrosion mitigation. So from the moment you have a fire until a crew like mine would show up and actually start working on everything, it can be days, if not weeks. And so you're slapping that WD-40 on there, and that would neutralize or protect the doorknobs from the acidic nature of smoke sitting there eating it and pitting it and ruining stuff that was cleanable before the soot sat on it forever. And so we were just coming in and protect it and get it to the point where we could then tear it apart, take it offside, do whatever we got to do, and then clean. By the time we cleaned the WD-40 off of your kitchen faucet, it was very clean, trust me. And anyway, so yeah, soot, smoke, all of it's acidic.
Poor grass. So how do you clean WD-40?
How do you clean it off?
Yeah.
With
water?
Degreasing agent. Yeah, Dawn dish soap or, degreaser.
Oh.
Any degreaser will work.
The magic substance. Yeah. WD-40.
Yeah, Dawn dish soap is pretty good. I keep a gallon of it here at my shop all the time. At all times.
Not Palmolive.
Goes a long way.
No, make your hands soft.
No, I don't care about Madge.
You would
Madge.
You'd have you soak your hands in a thing of Palmolive.
Right, I remember those. Yeah, we're the same age.
Is that even safe to keep your skin submersed in dishwashing soap for that long?
Well, nobody's going to soak their hands that long. Come on now.
For 5 minutes.
Get out the yellow rubber gloves to wash dishes. No one does that either.
Well, this was fun. We didn't have a direction. We kind of started off kind of weird.
Yeah, well, I felt like you probably needed to talk to somebody for a minute.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I've always told you I got stories for days.
Have you? I don't know if you have you re-listened to the stuff that we've re-put out? Like, yeah, they're great, man. I don't know. Just listening back, like to Mark when we had Mark on early on, like, oh my God, we gotta have Mark back on again. Yeah, talk about stuff.
Yeah, we should do that. Fridays are his Saturday.
Yeah, right. Well, maybe next week we'll throw it out at him and see if he's not juggling balls or breaking a collarbone. Maybe he'd be available.
Right. Yeah. I saw his little juggling video. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. He's pretty good at it. He went under the leg and all of that stuff. I'm not that talented.
Right. Oh, I've never gotten that good. I tried. I don't have the patience for that.
I'd love to learn the whole Polynesian fire knife dance, that whole twirling of the double-ended bladed on fire type situation. I'd love to learn to do that.
Yeah, it's got to practice wearing a grass skirt. I guess I
got rid of mine.
You fail if you catch your skirt on fire.
Cool. Would you like to wrap this thing up?
Sure. That's a wrap.
I love it. Cool. Hey, I'll catch you online. You have a good day.
All right, we'll see you, Rue.
All right, take care, Lonnie. Bye-bye.
Bye.
They'll get your life back to normal. Lonnie with Restore It Restoration.
Hey, looks like I'm waiting on Ruel to come into this meeting. I'm going to try to let Ruel do most of the talking today. I think he needs a friend today. Where's Ruel? He's probably somewhere swimming with the sharks off Alcatraz. I'll have to ask. I wonder what's taking IT boy so long. This idiot's figured out how to get into the Zoom system.
This meeting is being recorded.
All right, you are there.
I just got here. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm all right. A little chunky.
Are you?
Kind of loose and kind of soft and flabby around a lot of parts, but I'm good.
But are you really? I saw your post the other day in the group in the admin threads.
Yeah, I'm fine. Just was really kind of caught up with a little bit of like emotion. Not like I wasn't like crying or anything, but I was really bummed, So the listeners don't know that it's just somebody that I grew up with. We weren't close, but I did know his mom, and I did know his older brother. So yeah, this individual passed away last month because of coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, it was just tough. It's like this is a great way to sort of start off the recording.
Yeah, but I could tell you were kind of bummed.
Yeah, and with a few drinks in me too, it just sort of amplified things. But yeah, we grew up in the same village. We went to the same schools. We knew the same people. People that ended up being best buds with him at some point in high school were formerly my best buds early on in high school. So we were really connected. I'd be able to. We'd be able to walk into, if we were to walk into the same room, we'd gravitate toward each other. I imagine we would, because we're basically like the same type of people, same kind of person, So his passing, I had caught a video from a news source on the island back in Guam. And up until that point, I had only read some social media posts and the newspaper's website post about his passing. But then when I saw the video from this other news source, there were three individuals sort of talking about it, one of whom was also a former schoolmate. So when he talked about it, because he's in the news business himself, but he said he took it kind of personal because for the same reason why it's close to me, because we all are all part of this small community, and everybody knows each other. So I paid attention to the video, and I got to the part of the recording where they actually Zoom interviewed the widow and a brother. So it was just amazing how fast, the way she described how fast he went, it's really sad, he worked for Port Authority. He worked as a sort of immigration and customs officer. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And, the way she described it, he just was really working a lot, coming home tired, working a lot, coming home tired. And then he started showing symptoms of things like having congestion, and being tired, more tired than usual. And then when the wife, detected that he's having a few more symptoms and that they should be tested for it, for the virus, they went and got it, and they both tested positive. She dealt with it and recovered from it. Meanwhile, he wasn't doing so well. He wasn't dealing with it so well. He would wake up in the middle of the night having a difficult time breathing, then that would pass. And then he would go back to sleep, and then wake up again. And that was probably the worst it got until they actually had him checked out further. He did not want to go to the hospital, but as a sort of an in-between, he was like, you can take me to the fire station and then have the guys over there at the fire department check him out. And, then they checked him out, and sure enough, his blood oxygen levels had pretty much tanked, and then he had to get transported from there to, appropriate medical facility. And that was the last time his wife got to see him, is when she was there with him, taking him to the fire department. And then she couldn't go along to the hospital or any of that stuff. And just he had a chance to talk to the wife before he got intubated, and then the way she described it, it just seemed like it all happened pretty sudden. He was gone. He was gone by and kind of alone.
Man.
So you can't get any closure. I mean, the last things one of the last things he talked about before he got intubated was sort of instructions for his family, like his brother or his, because he took care of chickens and stuff, right? And he's like, make sure you feed the chickens. It sounds kind of funny, but it's like the last thing that a brother's going to hear from their dying brother was, can you make sure that you feed the chickens? Yeah. So widow, now the kids are missing their father. It's just so fast how it's gone, how an individual is gone. Yeah. So sucks, and it makes me wonder, do I have to reach out to everybody I went to high school with just to say hi and let them know that, been a long time, and just want to say, given the landscape of things with this virus and stuff, you know, I just want to touch base and just wish you well, and then leave it as that. Because this guy, back in high school, my last interaction with him, I think, was me threatening to kick his ass. Right. And it's like, you know, it's because you're in high school, and everybody's dumb in high school.
Right.
And it really had nothing to do with him. It had more to do with the people that he was sort of connected to that annoyed the heck out of me. And when he kind of looked at me the wrong way in high school, I just had enough of dealing with kind of idiocy all over the place. So I took it out on him by just, you know, threatening to kick his ass for looking at me the wrong way. But you know, he was hanging out with someone I was really close to. So that other individual's like, he just told me to back off, right? And just don't, right? And out of respect for my other friend, I'm like, yeah, then I won't, you know, I was just pissed off. But it's just, you're in high school and you're dumb. You know, his mom used to cut my hair. You know, my mom used to drive me to a certain hair place, and then, you know, his mom would be my go-to sort of barber, if you will, and she would cut my hair until I decided to, later in high school, to cut my own hair. And then his older brother, I first met in elementary school. We were in gate class together. So, you know, we all knew each other. So the dumb stuff that happens in high school, you know, it's just dumb stuff. At the end of the day, we're all sort of, our families know each other, and our families know other families that are the same families. You know, it's like, what are we doing? We're you know, so dumb. Anyways, this is going to be an interesting tail end of the podcast.
Oh, you going to chop it up and put this at the end?
This has been another Coffee with Heavy Cream production.